Hello, good evening. I hope that you had a wonderful day. My name is Dr. Shanae. I am here with real chick shit for tonight. And tonight I am going to discuss something that was commented on a post that I made yesterday. I made a comment, or made a reel about people who tend to not believe that the person, like say if someone has done something to someone is abusing someone, and their friends and family are like, no, they didn't do that. That's not their character. They're not that kind of person, blah, 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 so on and so forth. So if you missed it, please go back and check out the video on YouTube. Okay, the full video is on YouTube. So I wanted to read the comment that was left because this is the topic of tonight's conversation, okay? Now, the comment reads as follows. Ever heard about the word leave? Let me explain. If I do something wrong once and you entertain it, I didn't say accept it, just entertaining it. You are creating a new perspective for me to be able to be reckless and already know we are going to sit and talk, etc. If you can't deal with it, leave and protect your peace. You'll never have to sit and justify to anyone that this person is this outside and that at home. Now, I understand what this person was trying to convey. However, the manner in which it was given, I don't necessarily agree with, okay? Now, it's a little different when you're in a domestic violence situation, because domestic violence, it does not just happen. You're not just in this bad, horrible situation. Domestic violence abusers, they're very calculated. Okay, so it's something, it's little bits here and there, and things will keep growing and adding up until one day you're in a place and it's like, how did I get here? Okay, everything is calculated. It's slow, it's progressive. It's not you just walk into a situation and somebody is completely mistreating you. A lot of times you'll get love bombed. They'll make you feel like you're just special. You're the only person in the world to them. You are here. But then little by little, they chip you down. And I understand where this commenter was coming from, because in a lot of ways, I used to feel the same way. I was confused. I didn't understand if someone is mistreating you, if they're abusing you physically, emotionally, financially, verbally, sexually, all of the things, then just get up and leave. But being on this side of domestic violence, because yes, I am a domestic violence survivor. Being now on this side, I understand things differently. And thankfully, my case did not get as far as others have, but it was enough for me to end up doing my own research on everything, and I understand things a lot differently. So let me give you a few statistics, and I did make some notes because I want to make sure that I give the correct information. So if you see me looking back and forth, I'm looking at my notes, okay? So as far as leaving, it takes an average of 7 attempts, okay, for a survivor to leave their abuser and stay separated for good. 7 attempts. And then on top of that, leaving is the most dangerous time for a survivor. Now think about that. You're encouraging someone to leave. However, that is the most dangerous time for them, because a lot of people, a lot of abusers will stalk and search and wait and continue to do the things. Continue following this person, continue harassing this person, and sometimes end up toe tagging this person. All because they tried to get away from them so that they could have a better and happier life. Okay? Each day in the United States, 3 women are murdered by current or former intimate partners. Okay? There are literally 3 women every day in the United States. 1 in 5 homicide victims are toe tagged by an intimate partner. Okay, over half of female homicide victims in the U.S. are toe tagged by a current or former male intimate partner. And I know before someone hops in the comments, women are abusers too. Yes, women are absolutely abusers too. However, women tend to be more disproportionately affected by domestic violence. So that is on which I am speaking tonight, okay? 38% of all domestic violence victims will be homeless at some point, because part of this is financial abuse. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. But the financial aspect of it, it's very draining. And you see what times are like right now. Life is very expensive right now. It's very expensive to do anything, let alone you're in a situation that is bad for you domestically. You're being abused. Your children, you potentially have children who are also being abused, and you're kind of stuck because life is so expensive and it's so much more difficult now to get out of these situations. Okay. Now, more than 80% of survivors of intimate partner violence report that their abusive partners disrupted their ability to work. Now, that's going to go back to what I just said about the financial aspect of this abuse. You already have about 40% of victims that are going to be homeless at some point because of the finances. And then 80% of survivors have their ability to work impacted by their abusers. But it's just as simple as just leaving, right? Then, to further this, victims of financial abuse collectively lose a total of 8 million days of paid work every year. 8 million days collectively lost due to domestic violence. So it's not as simple as just leave. Because when you're getting ready to leave, because remember, I just said that it takes an average of 7 attempts to leave to finally be gone. You can't just pick up and leave. You have to, as a victim, typically you have to plot and plan your escape. You have to sit there. Everything has to be calculated. You can't just get up and leave. You're going to have to create a plan, particularly if you don't want your abuser to do the things that I said about the stalking and everything else. You have to create a plan that you can get on an exit successfully, and so you can stay gone. And this includes financially. So now, these numbers definitely spiked with the pandemic because people were forced to be home, and so many people were stuck at home with their abusers. And not only just women, but children as well. They were stuck with parents who abused them, or older siblings, or other relatives, whomever. And so these numbers definitely jumped during that time period. And my heart completely went out to them. Those were the first people that I thought about when everything was shut down and we were all stuck at home. Well, what about the people who are suffering from violence in the home? What happens to them? That was my whole thought and worry, because, like I said, as I work with children, that pulls on my heartstrings, because I did see some of those cases come through during that time period. And of course, I am always going to be an advocate and protect anyone who is being abused, particularly children and the elderly. Those are my special areas, but anybody who's being abused in one of those types of situations. Okay. So you have to plan your escape. You have to be able to plan your disappearance. And for some people, they do have to completely disappear. They have to take on new identities. They have to just leave. Some people have had to leave the region, sometimes the country. It's very dangerous. And part of this is because we as a people do not know how to deal with rejection. And for me, I'm one of those people, I really do hate the concept, and I'm sure that I'm going to get some comments on this, but I really hate the concept of everybody gets a trophy. Everybody does not get a trophy. The trophy is for those who have put in the work, who have won. Okay. Now, if you participate, cool. Get a certificate, participation, whatever. But we're doing children a disservice by not teaching them how to properly handle rejection. You're not going to win everything. You're not going to win every time. Sometimes you're going to be disappointed. Things are not going to go the way that you want them to go. They're not going to happen the way that you thought they would happen. And that is okay. But it's better to teach children how to deal with this on the front end before they become adults that cannot handle this. This is why you have so many men toe tagging these women who are not interested in giving them their phone number. So I don't give you my phone number. That gives you the right to toe tag me because I don't want to talk to you. I have no interest in you. Make that make sense. Teach children how to deal with things in life that do not go their way. And it's more complicated than that, of course. However, that's some of where it can start. And that's one potential solution. You have to teach children from young ages how to handle things that they're going to experience in life. Disappointment, unfortunately, is part of that. It's just the name of the game. I have to teach my little girl how to deal with it as well. One of her biggest moments, she was invited to participate in the science fair. And she did wonderful. However, she did not win. And I could see the disappointment on her face. And I felt it. And there was nothing that I could do for her to make her feel better about not winning. But hey, honey, listen, you did a wonderful job. Your project was amazing. Just try harder next year. Go again and see what happens. You have to teach them how to deal with these things early on, because then they become adults that don't know how to handle rejection. They don't know how to handle disappointment. They don't know how to handle when situations don't go the way that they want them to go. They don't know how to handle their anger, their sadness. So then they get physical or they lash out. They're verbally abusive to people. The list just goes on and on. And these are not healthy coping skills at all, because these also potentially put others in danger, others' lives in jeopardy, and who knows what else. So it's not as simple as just leave. Abusers love to isolate, and it starts little bit by little bit. No, you don't need to go out here. You need to just spend time with me. No, let your family members, or on the flip side, they'll try to talk to you and convince you that people are turning you against them. There are all types of manipulative games that abusers play, because their goal is to isolate you so that you feel alone and that you feel that you have no one to connect to except them. And then once they have you separated from everybody, once you are by yourself with just them, it's like the switch changes. And a lot of that abuse, it just kicks in. And by this point, mentally, you're already in a space where you feel like you have no one but them, because that was their intent, right? Their intent was to make you feel alone, was to make you feel like no one cares about you, no one loves you except them. That you're not going to be able to make it in life unless you have them. And it's hard. It's hard to just leave that. It's not as simple as just leave. It's a process. It is a process. And so, reading that comment, like I said, I do agree with not allowing someone to mistreat you. If you see, the first signs of seeing mistreatment, it's time to go. But when you're in a negative space, when you're in a period of low self-esteem, low confidence, you don't feel good about yourself, you're lonely, all of the things, you're not healthy emotionally, you're not healthy mentally. So you're going to make poor decisions in intimate partners. You're going to make decisions that you might not under normal circumstances make. You're going to get involved in situations that you typically would not and that you have absolutely no business in. Why? Because you've already been traumatized. And when you're in a traumatized state, you tend to invite more trauma in. Like attracts like, right? So you're going to have more of that because you're already in a vulnerable space. You're already at a point where you're feeling here. And this person comes in with that manipulative energy and makes you feel special and buys the things, does the things, show you the emotion, show you the affection. And you feel like you're here. You're still here, but you feel like you're up here. Then they start that good process of separation, trying to move you away from people that you're close to, your friends, your family, all of those. Why? Because it's easier for you to become their prey. So before you look at a domestic violence victim or survivor, whichever side that person is on at the time, don't try to simplify it as just leave. Because it's not as simple as that for everybody. It's not as simple as just leave for all the reasons that I listed. You have to have a plan for escape, especially if there are children involved, because they're affected by this as well. Now, what I will do, I will drop some information in the description box that will have resources. If you are in a situation that you need to get out of, I will include some information on safe places or how to contact or find a safe place to get to. If you're at that point where you're ready to leave and you need to get out, I will drop some information to help you with that. But I do want for everyone to be able to get away from all of these situations, to heal what's going on, to heal from the previous trauma, because majority of domestic violence victims and survivors have some previous trauma before they got into that particular relationship. There's something that's happened. And if you are a survivor and you have made it out and you're ready and wanting to discover what that is, try to figure out what's going on, heal, to live a better life for yourself, for your children, for whomever, please feel free to book a consultation and let's talk about it. Because I have been there. And it is so great on the other side. Well, you all have a wonderful evening. I am going to make sure, like I said, that I leave those resources. And if you're needing help, please reach out. Do not suffer alone. And just know that you are loved, you are valued, and you are special. All right, you all take care, okay? Have a good evening.